your journey through accepting the importance of the role that you play in the organization that you are, is very inspiring for me. And so after my NYC, it was hard for them to let me go because I was doing so much and I had so much task currently on my table. Actually, coming out of school, what was the first thing you thought you were going to get? I thought I was going to get like a bank job. I thought I was going to work in finance. Because I studied economics in school. I think one person that really shaped my mindset and shaped, the way I think about my role was him. He made me feel very important. He made me feel like your opinion really matters. And what I say goes. Like something you could have in a meeting and he will call me and he's like, oh, Chima, what do you think? And I'm like, I think, okay, guys, let's do that. And I'm like, you might feel the way you're feeling right now, but just make sure that every day when you get to the office, you're doing what you're supposed to do. You're doing, even sometimes more than what you're supposed to do. Hi, my name is Joy Abia, and you're welcome to Femme Biz. This is a space where we host honest conversations with women who are building, leading, and shaping industries across Africa in business, career, and every other aspect of their lives. Okay, hello Chidinma.
Hi Joy.
You're welcome to Femme Biz, and thank you for being here. Thank you for being my guest.
Thanks for having me.
So one of the reasons I actually brought Chidinma on the show is because she's a friend to me, and also one of the things that I love about her journey is the most peculiar story I love is your like career journey, right? How it has actually transformed. I remember the day that you sent me a message and you said, oh, you just opened LinkedIn very randomly on a random day that you hadn't opened the app in like how many months, and then you said you just opened and you saw an opportunity. And I think that was like the beginning. Some things just changed in your career. And I also know that as an executive assistant, it's maybe it's also a role that a lot of people do not understand, right? And you had to your journey through accepting the importance of the role that you play in the organization that you are, is very inspiring for me. And I think that a lot of other young women, and, whatever the generation, they are going to actually learn from what it means to accept your career and grow into, doing something meaningful. Yeah. So please, let's start with your journey. Like, tell us about yourself.
Oh, okay. So my journey in career.
But let's first start with you.
Okay.
Give us an intro into who Chidinma is.
Oh,
this or that. What do you like?
Well, my name is Chidinma, like you said. I'm an executive assistant. Started off as a business administration assistant. But aside work, I think we'll go into that later. But aside work, I love reading a lot. Fiction books. I love reading. I love swimming. I love conversations. I think. Then I also love problem solving, puzzles, and just things that are hard to fix. I like to get busy. But yeah. But then, in the career area, I think I started my career right out of school, NYSC. So during NYSC, I was very eager to get like a proper job where I would like have experience and hopefully get paid well. That didn't happen, but I got the experience that I needed. So I started my career in an oil and gas servicing company. So when I came, there was no particular role. I was just the copper. So I worked with every department. But I made sure that I contributed positively to every single, like I needed them to not want me to go. I needed them to want to retain me. So I put my energy in all the departments, biz dev, admin. I was working directly with the CEO at a point. You could say I was his PA to an extent. I worked with the HR department, everywhere. So after my NYC, it was hard for them to let me go because I was doing so much and I had so much task currently on my table. So they had no other choice but to retain me.
But what was your expectation with even jobs? Actually coming out of school, what was the first thing you thought you were going to get?
I thought I was going to get like a bank job. I thought I was going to work in finance. Because I studied economics in school.
Oh my God. Do you know I never knew that?
Yeah. I studied economics in school. And I thought, oh, why not? I applied to maybe like 20 jobs.
But
most of them were not recruiting coppers. Most of them were doing internship roles that I could not do until I was done with NYSC. So I stayed where I was. So while I was there, after my NYSC year, they retained me as a business administrative assistant.
Mm-hmm.
So I was working at this point. I was working directly with the admin officer and the HR, but then also reported to the CEO because he didn't have a PA or an EA or anything. So I literally wore all these caps at the time. And then funny things, I got a role in Stanbic for that internship, but then COVID happened. So they stopped recruiting, and after the whole COVID thing, I didn't go back.
Okay.
So that happened.
Yeah, but it's like, I think you're giving us like a brief summary of your journey, and that's amazing. So, but now you are currently you work as an executive assistant at a global wine and spirits brand here in Nigeria, and that's admirable, honestly. Well done. I love
Thank you.
Okay, so, but one thing I want you to help us understand in that career, I mean, you did not exactly see yourself. Maybe you did see yourself. Yeah. So, first of all, maybe we're going to start with like the role of an executive assistant, so that anybody who sees it outside any lady, any woman who sees, okay, they're hiring for an executive assistant, what are they supposed to expect in that kind of role?
Okay. Well, I think the expectation is different for different companies, but basically you're working directly with the executive, either the general manager or the CEO or the directors, or even it could even be more than one executive. So in my case now, I work directly with 2 executives. When I started, I was just working with 1. So you're working directly with them. You're literally helping, making their life or work life easier, so they could focus on bigger things. They don't have to focus on the chaos of day to day. So
to give us like an example of what that looks like.
So basically, it can start from, calendar arrangements to meetings scheduling to preparing of documents to doing research on things that you're working on, to talking with other people to sort of book things or organize things, to in-house planning and organization of events. Basically all these things, and it could also expand.
Does that get very tedious for you?
It does. It does, especially when there are more than one thing happening at the same time, or you have like maybe visitors people are coming into Lagos. I have to sort out like visas, accommodations, transport for 5 people at the same time. And then aside that, you have the calendar arrangement. You have to sort out things. You have to do an itinerary for the trip. It could be a week or a 2-week trip. All these things are happening while the normal day-to-day work activities are going on.
So you're a multitasker.
I don't have to be on top of everything. I don't have a choice.
Interesting.
But yeah, basically, but then for some companies, as an EA, you'd most likely also be the administrative officer of the company, because you're the EA to the executive, but then you're also working with the other staff, making sure that they're all good, everything they need is great, the office is properly taken care of. You're also managing like other the office assistants, you're managing the vendors, you're managing, things like that. So there are a lot of things when that comes to play, but it depends on the company.
I mean, so you also mentioned, and from our previous conversations, you mentioned that this was not a role that you actually even ever wanted. Like sometimes you didn't even want to mention that you're like an executive assistant. Like what has changed now?
I think now I've just understood. So before I understood what the role was, I knew what I was doing, but I didn't think people were seeing it. So now I think I'm just very open and, open in talking about the role.
Okay.
And let people know that there's a difference between a PA and an EA, right? So I used to be very shy. I used to be embarrassed, for the lack of a better word.
Interesting.
Some people that, I'm an EA. But now I realize that there's so much more to it. There's so much tasks, responsibilities, things on my table. So why should I be shy about that? I'm quite busy.
What are like the most peculiar things about, or should I say, what's the one thing of all the things that you do the most and you find the most tasking about your role?
I think
especially working with like the high level clients.
I would say people, and I'll explain. So because of my role, I tend to work with a lot of people. I tend to relate or have to like reach out to a lot of people. And then when you're working with people, sometimes your work can be delayed because you're waiting on them for one thing or the other, or waiting on them to give you like an information, and people tend to take their sweet time,
before sending response.
So it could be that could be something that like that's tasking for me. And like also people in the sense that people tend to do what they want. Like for example, I've planned an executive's calendar for the week. I've checked it the day before, and I come to the office and someone has put a meeting there without asking me or anything, and now we have 3 meetings clashing, and I'm like,
what to do now? You have to really problem solve at that moment.
Exactly.
Okay.
But that could be one thing that's a bit challenging.
Okay. So I think another thing I want to also would love to hear is that actual skill building, like that place that got you. I mean, there is consistency in doing things, right? When you're like, for example, your former role, there are things you were just, maybe you're naturally just like a doer. What would you say? How do you naturally? Not really?
Yeah.
Interesting, because I know that you do a lot of puzzles, so you're probably just like that. Yeah. So so that part of like the core, building yourself and at the core, like what was that process for you? Because now I think you also mentioned that you weren't always confident. Like, let's dive into like that journey of I wasn't always confident, but I was doing the work, and then what really of all that work got me to where I am today.
Okay. So I have to go back a little bit. Before I got the role, my current role, they reached out to me on LinkedIn, and I sent my CV. I had the first interview with the recruiting company, and my first interview, when she asked me, I should describe my day-to-day work life to her, like what I do on a day-to-day basis. And I told her, she was like, half of the things I've mentioned are not on my CV. And I was like, in my head, they're not that important. Things like maybe doing like car insurance for people, sorting out car papers. To me, those are like normal stuff I do. Important. Like, why should I? Said no, put every single thing I've mentioned right now on my CV, and I send it back to her. So I did. I sent it back to her, and apparently those things that I put were the things that made the HR of where I'm working now reach out to me. That's why I got the job. Things that I did not think were relevant. That's what they were looking for, and I think that gave me some sort of confidence. Like, talk about like the top 3 skills you need, like that you use to develop yourself in this role. Because I know you said problem solving already, so maybe we can address like maybe communication, definitely,
and then maybe critical thinking. I don't know, whatever. What's like the top 3 skills?
I would say problem solving. I would say communication, and I would say critical thinking sort of also falls under problem solving, because most times you have to, like, I have to see the problem before it comes. I have to imagine all the ways this could go wrong and have a solution for them in case these things happen. So, that's, you could say that.
So you don't want to go a deep dive into like your communication skills. Okay, so because now your communication is actually not a very common skill that a lot of people know how to have mastered.
Yeah.
A lot, especially women, especially growing women. Let's just start it like that. And for someone who wants to understand not just an EA role, but like to advance your career generally, communication is key. So how because you were now seeing high profile clients, like you're seeing, so how did you, like, you had to communicate on the spot. So how did you
let's say communication and emotional intelligence. So I know a lot of us put communication in our CVs, but like there's a lot more to it.
Absolutely.
Where I was working before here, I see everybody, we talk face to face. I go to the CEO's office, I go to the but then where I'm working now is it's global. They're pulling Paris, they're pulling SA, they're pulling different places that I'm communicating with on a day, and I'm talking to executives or like my boss's boss's boss, his EA, which is also like top like you get. So you have to sort of know how to reach out to her. You have to be polite. You have to know the time to reach out to them, because we're on different time zones. I can't be using my time zone for their time zone. And then you just also you have to know how to communicate the problem. So most of them don't want to read a long email or don't want to read a long message on Teams. So you have to go
Straight to the point.
Hello,
this is what
Joy.
it is.
This is what's going on. I think we can do A, B, C, D. What do you think, or what do you advise? You just have to go straight to the point and tell them what the problem is, if there is a problem, or then also just have a solution that, I think we can do this.
Okay, so make your suggestion
but
immediately.
Let me know what you think.
Okay.
So, there's so many ways to go about, and different people with different ways they want to communicate. So you also need to learn how people want to be reached. Some people don't want to be emailed. They rather you call them, you take them on Teams. You can't just call someone randomly on Teams. You have to ask first. Oh, hi, can I call you now? Are you free? Even if it shows that they are free on their calendar, doesn't give you the right to just call. And then I think also working here now, where I used to work before, we never went on first name basis. So when I started here and I started calling people Mr.
They're like, stop it.
What's wrong with you?
Yeah, I feel like, especially
new here.
In global, that's a very big mindset shift because when you're in like maybe a traditional national organization, they're like that's hierarchy must be
the Nigerian respect needs to be
but
there.
like I feel like that
but working with like the international guys, they do not care and they do not want that. They want you to call them by their first name.
Like I even think that kind of thing restricts, like maybe that's how do I call it now? I don't know, it's a stigma. I don't want to call it a stigma or something. Like it also translates into the way like people actually perform in their workspaces. I don't even know whether we need to get into all of that. But I mean, actually, even myself working globally, they're just, the CEOs are like, there are some people that are just like, call me by my name, and you're like, I'm frightened. Like, I can't do that, sir. But like, at the end of the day, that's what it is, because we are working towards a specific goal, and we need to, we all need to be, not that we have to be very familiar, but still as comfortable as possible to, talk to people on the team. That's amazing. So also, how has, like, first of all, oil and gas, was it like, when that work environment, what was the difference between there and where you are now? We've already mentioned a lot of the global differences that are there, but I think in your own mindset shift, I want to know like what really changed and how long it even took you to like that space between when you accepted that my role is actually very important to before you did. So like take us on that journey of what it's like mentally, or what it was like mentally.
Okay. So working with oil and gas servicing company, I felt like I started there as a copper. So I felt like I didn't have that respect. Like they would always just see me as a copper, even though I did so much work, and I tried to bring myself out of that. The CEO I'm just helping you. So that, like be here until you get to do another job.
Real.
That was the initial attitude I got from there. So that also just kind of pulled me down, like, with everything I'm doing, seeing that I want to be brought out of that box to be seen seriously. And then I got the job where I'm working now, and it was like me and the GM were a team. Like, he's asking me what do you think? Do you think we should do this? Or come to my office, let's discuss how we can. I'm like, we? I'm like, we? And working with him, like, to be honest, he's been changed now, but I think one person that really shaped my mindset and shaped the way I think about my role was him. He made me feel very important. He made me feel like your opinion really matters, and what I say goes. Like, something, he could have in a meeting and he will call me and he's like, oh Chima, what do you think? And I'm like, I think, like, okay guys, let's do that. And I'm like, stop it.
They just took your suggestion.
Stop it. So he made me feel very confident. Like I could talk in the room. I could let my opinion be heard, because I think, I might be wrong now, or I might have been wrong yesterday, but today I might be right. So I'm going to still say it anyways, because he would always ask. I'm sure he noticed, like, at first that I would hardly talk in meetings. I always say, I don't know. I don't know. And he'd always ask me, and it got to the point I'm like, no, I have to now have something to say. So let me just say what's on my mind. And I think the first 2-3 times that I did say what I was thinking, he agreed with me. And that gave me like a confidence boost. And then along the line, I started seeing like, my role is important. I'm helping this man out in a lot of ways. And then he also was very quick and very good in telling me, like, oh, because you did ABC, now I can concentrate and do this and this and this. And
so you always get your accolades immediately.
I always got my accolades immediately with him.
Good. Yeah.
I loved working with him. Like he was one of the people that really shapes my mindset and made me to be more confident. So you can see that. And the HR at the time as well.
That's amazing. So I like this conversation is actually mostly directed towards like every woman who is in the space of experiencing that space of growth. Like you just don't even know what it's going to end up like, or like in terms of your career. However, you're choosing to stay somewhere, you're choosing to start from somewhere and grow there intentionally, as long as it's not extremely terrible for you, but if it's somewhere that you see opportunities for growth, you can always stay and start. Like, so you studied economics, and I want to know, like, first of all, you had to take what was available, right? Was that how you started?
Yes,
you took what was available.
That's how
first.
I started. I took what was available. I took what I had right there.
Okay, so based on your journey, right, what type of advice would you give to a young woman who is actually feeling insecure about their role? I don't want to, a young woman.
I would say keep on doing what you're doing and put in the work, right? You might feel the way you're feeling right now, but just make sure that every day when you get to the office, you're doing what you're supposed to do. You're doing, even sometimes more than what you're supposed to do, because that's kind of what got me to where I am. I was literally an oversabi at a point, especially my NYSC year. I wanted to I had to make that bag and they had to retain me, right? So keep doing what you're doing. And even if no one is telling you that you're doing a great job or like giving you your accolades, make sure that you're writing it down. Make sure that you're writing like what you're doing down, how you helped this department or how you helped this person, or things that you did that, kind of, it was amazing. It was great in the company. No one said it was, but it was because you saw the results. So make sure that you never forget. And anytime you feel down or you feel like, why am I here? I studied this. I'm supposed to be doing this and I don't know why I'm here. Just go back and look at the things you wrote down, because it starts somewhere. And you don't know, the next role you might get might need you to have all the skill sets that you've built from where you currently are.
True.
So you need to, keep it up, keep doing it, be great at it. If you need to take other like courses or learn other things to be good at what you're currently doing or to help you to where you want to be, do it.
Another thing I love about you is like where you work, right? Someone can actually just assume that you have great work-life balance. Like today, this maybe you're on the laptop today, by the night,
Girl,
somewhere else.
You have to.
By the night, you're at an event they're hosting, But like, talk about, like, I know that you have like I personally admire your work ethic and how you actually still keep all of your other interests alive whilst you working like a very high, like I'll just call it an intense role. So I want you to really how do you do it?
Girl, so I think that you need a balance. If I'm just working, I could just go crazy. I could just go crazy. So I love to have activities aside work, right? I love to read. I love to swim. I love to be outside. I love to have a good time.
Yeah.
And sometimes weeks on weeks, work could be crazy that I don't have time for any of these things. But once I do, I'm going to milk it. Like, I'm going to do everything that I need to do. I'm going to be out back to back to back. I'm going to try to like do everything that I've missed in the past 2-3 weeks. Just because it keeps me sane.
Yeah.
It helps me. Like, after that, people will think I'll be exhausted. No, I'm ready for work the next day.
And I mean, at the core of it too, it is your personality that I feel like the person you're developing as like your personal development assists your growth in career, right? If you don't have anything outside, if you don't even know what you are or who you are or how you tend to communicate or how you can do things so easily without knowing yourself, you cannot even give your best in like
Sure.
the role that you are. Like, and I think it's so important to emphasize for whatever, you know, wherever stage that you're at. Like, just don't get stuck in, because you can actually get to a point of growth in your career and you're like, okay, yeah, it's time to put in the 100%.
Yeah.
But that's, you may not even know that that's actually the time you need to even like, okay, know yourself even more. Like, give yourself even more time. Give more time with family. Do other things. You know, like give and actually there are even some careers, like some roles that you some environments that you get to, that if you don't even have that kind of, what's it called now, like that flexibility to just, or just that authenticity as a person, they may not like, they may actually not give it to you.
You need to know who you are outside of work, what you love, what you like to do, people that you like to hang out with, places that you like to be outside of work. Because if it's just work, you most likely miss out on who you are or who you can possibly be.
Take it from Chi.
So like, yeah, you need to, it's important.
Amazing. So now that you are at I mean, we all are still we're still looking forward to something. I'm sure this, like you said, this was not a role that you planned. You're here and you love it. And I'm sure that there are other places that you will not be afraid to, like this will definitely give you more confidence to do other things, that, you know, strive for other things. But now, what does like growth look like for you?
So growth looks like, for me right now, like me just developing myself in other areas.
Okay.
So working as an EA has exposed me to so many other things that I never even thought I could do, or that, you know, I never thought I'd be good at. But being an EA and working where I'm working currently, I've seen that I'm great at so many things, if I do say so myself. Like I have some little skills that if I grow could be, you know, could be great career paths. And, you know, I'm working in, I don't know if I want to say it, but
it's fine. You don't
but
have
like
to.
I'm working in a particular path right now that also aligns with, you know, my role and skill sets as an EA. So, you know, looking forward to that. I'm excited about that. Hopefully in the next 1-2 years we'll be fully in it. But it's not far away. You know, if not for where I am now, I don't think I would have found that out. So I'm also really grateful for that, for here and my current role and my current place of work.
Amazing. So what advice would you give to, I'd say your younger self first, but also like anyone, because I would say your younger self, you're not old, you're still young,
Actually,
but still to anyone, because the truth is, what I've actually come to learn too is that no matter like the age, there could always be someone who might be starting all over. Like maybe they just did not see the reason to go in some certain paths. Do you understand? Or maybe like taking 9 to 5. You understand? They never does, you know, and they did some things, and then along the line you realize that, okay, not that you realize you did 9 to 5. You just realize that all of these things add to your growth at the end of the day. So what kind of advice would you just give to someone who is starting, whether they're young, whether they're old, there's no age limit to this, but someone who is just on that path to say, you know what, I consciously making an effort towards a career that, you know, that I want. It may not look like it right now, but, you know, what advice would you give to that kind of person?
Keep on doing it. Like, keep on. Change is mostly hard. Most times it's hard. You might be nervous because it's not what you're used to. You might definitely be scared. Well, I would be scared. But just, you have the goal already in your mind. You know where you want this to go, where you want to go. So keep on doing it. Keep on pushing. Taking that course, taking that, you know, lesson. Like, do everything you need to be where you are. Like, make sure that you, as you are, you put all the energy that was required. And yeah, I think that's like the number one thing I'll say. Like, just keep on doing it.
Amazing.
Start now. Don't give up. It's going to be hard. It's going to be scary, but you know.
I really do hope that this conversation, no matter how short and no matter how brief, or, you know, I just really do hope that it helps you in your career journey. But I want to break the ice a bit. Okay. So she is a reader. I actually just picked up my first book of this year. I just picked up, the other day. I've never read Chinua Achebe. The thing is, I actually just started African. No, I actually love African literature. For some reason, I just like when they take me back in time. And I'm living, even though back in time may not have been the best, but I just always like it. So give us like your your book recommendations. If you want to give someone who just wants to start fiction and they don't want to stress too much, like just give her like 3 books.
3 African literature.
African, yeah. Let's do African literature.
My God.
The new
very
ones.
Let me see. Let me try to think. So one that comes to my mind every time someone asks me for a recommendation, Stay With Me.
Okay. I know that book. I haven't read it yet.
You should. It's sad, but it's good.
Yeah. Is it romance?
No.
No, it's not romance. It's like a mother and somebody.
Just watch it.
It's trauma.
I mean, just read it. You'd love it.
Okay.
You'd love it. And then, so most people don't like this book because of the writing. So it's mostly written in broken English, but The Girl with the Louding Voice. I love it.
Okay.
Just give it time. You might need to get used to the writing because the girl in the book, the main character, she doesn't speak English properly. So her English is broken.
And
so the writer,
like that. Oh.
Yeah, so it's written in actual broken English.
Okay.
Some words are not pronounced right. Some things are not like written properly, but that's the intention. But then you see how she develops and how her English also develops as the book goes on.
Okay, so
I
the
love
third
that.
one.
I'm on the spot. Let me think. Girl.
You can't think of...
Nothing is coming to mind. The one that comes to mind is not African. It's not an African literature, but it's a book I read it recently.
Yeah.
The Midnight Library. Really good.
Okay.
Like, it sort of shows you... The book is about... Okay, let me just quick...
Okay, give us...
So this girl, she's not so happy with her life, and then she's in a coma. And in the coma, she's in the library, sort of shows a library of life. So in that library, there are different books, and each book sort of shows you what could have been if you went in a different path. Like they're like
someone wrote about
so many books.
That's good.
And if you take one book, you see, if I had picked up this stone when I was 5, what would have happened? Sort of. And like, she was choosing times in her life because she wanted to know, if I had said yes to this guy, if I had taken this job or not taken this job. And then she realized that would not have been as great as I imagined in my head. So I beat myself up for it. Do you get sort of that's what the entire book, but it's so good and it's well written and I love it.
Thank you so much for joining us today on Femme Biz, the first episode, and we hope that these conversations do something in you, shift something in you in how you see yourself and your impact to the world in career, business, and any other thing that you do as a woman. Again, I am your host, Joy Abia. So please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to this video and our YouTube channel. And please follow us on all our social media platforms. It is at B360 TV. And this is Femme Biz.